It's great to be partnering with Municipal Works Australia again. A really wonderful organisation trying to build up capability, capacity, and support for local governments across Australia. A real interest in local governments around Australia is reducing the death and serious injury that happens on the roads and streets that they manage, and the roads and streets that the states manage within their municipality as well. So, road safety auditing is a one of the ways we've got to do that. Now, on the screen there, you can see my contact details, QR code to my LinkedIn. And yes, as Sophia mentioned, I work for Safe System Solutions and have worked with many of you in different capacities, be that helping with development of road safety strategies or road safety audits or design work or the like. So our teams works a lot with municipalities and we really enjoy that. As I mentioned there, we're going to do a little bit of a quiz. In fact, I've designed the whole webinar around a quiz for a bit of fun, but don't worry if you don't want to participate in the quiz, you don't have to. Certainly, I'll run through some content, but I thought it was a nice way to get interactive and also give you the opportunity to win a prize because we like to do that. Many of you have done our road safety audit course online or our safe system assessment course or other design courses. And, we like to give out prizes, keep people engaged. So we'll do that again for this. Today's topic is road safety audits with that special focus on how local governments can apply road safety audits to lessen death and serious injury for their community. Okay, so how is the quiz going to work? Well, I'm going to use the platform Menti, and I think many of you have used this, but all you need to do is open up a browser, another browser, or use your phone, any browser on your phone, and you go to this website, menti.com, and then you put in this code 31774018. No spaces. And you can put in a nickname or you can put your real name in. It doesn't matter. And you will use that as your answering pad. So the quiz, and if you answer correctly, you get points. If you answer correctly fast, you get more points. If you get it wrong, you don't get any points. And we're going to whittle this down to a winner of the quiz. But for each quiz question, I'm going to talk a little bit about the topic of the quiz question after we ask it. So there's no, you're not being marked on this or anything. It's just a chance to win a prize. So hopefully you're seeing your little icon there. If you get logged out or anything like that, you can simply just log back in, rejoin, join back in as we go. But I'm sure we will get a winner out of this. So this is exciting, eh? All right. Well, let's try the first one. Get ready to answer. Answer quickly to get more points. Here we go. Which part of the Austroads Guide to Road Safety covers the topic of road safety audit? Is it part 1, part 3, part 6, part 9? Okay. So I also will show a leaderboard for the first couple, but then after that, I'm going to keep it hidden and we'll have a surprise at the end. Oh, well done. A lot of you know it's part 6. So not to be confused with part 6 of the Guide to Road Design, which is about barrier systems and hardware. No, part 6 of the Guide to Road Safety is the road safety audit one. So let's have a quick, immediate look at the leaderboard, see who was quick there, but trust me, plenty of opportunity to for anybody to take over here. But Aaron has jumped out into the lead there, followed by Joseph and Buddy coming through in third. So, but very much anyone's game. So keep that open because I'm going to be jumping back and forth between the quiz and the slides that you'll see on screen. So the Austroads Guide to Road Safety, Part 6, as we learnt there, is where we house all the guidance for the road safety audit process in Australia and New Zealand. Now, there are supplements to this. So a lot of jurisdictions have particular nuances in terms of the way they do it. But this sets out the process of a road safety audit. It explains what a road safety audit is, when it can be done, who can do it, how it should be done, and it gives you different bits of information about what to look for. It doesn't cover everything an auditor would need to from a technical perspective, but it does a pretty good job of laying out quite a bit there. Now, I was involved in the previous sort of 3 updates of this, and we keep adding stuff to try to make it more helpful to practitioners and adding more things to make sure we get the best we can in terms of trauma reduction. But I'll explain some of the more recent changes as we go. It's been around for quite a while. There's some superseded ones there. But let's jump back to the quiz and we'll ask our next question. Oh, good. Lots of people in there. Feel free to join in if others want. But here we go for our next question. What is the primary objective of road safety auditing? Is it to prevent road trauma by identifying and managing risk, ensure compliance with standards and guidelines, maximize triple bottom line, social, environmental, and economic outcomes, or check legal conformance of projects? Excellent. So let's come back to digging a bit further into what this thing, a road safety audit, is after we check the leaderboard here and see if we've got any changes. We'll see if Aaron kept up there or did pretty well. Oh, yep. This is good. Looks like Mark B's having a run at it. Nigel's coming up the ranks as well there. But still, I think we've got another 7 questions. It's going to be anybody's game here. But I won't show you the leaderboard after this. So I'm going to jump back to the slides again. And a road safety audit, and I've got a little definition here, which Austroads uses. It's a formal examination of a future road or traffic project or an existing road or road-related area in which an independent qualified team reports on the project's crash potential and actual safety performance, respectively. Now, that is part of a much longer definition of a road safety audit in the most recent Austroads Guide to Road Safety Part 6, where it actually spells out a whole lot of things that a road safety audit is not. And one of the things it talks about a road safety audit is not, it's not a check that the project complies with standards and guidelines. Now, that might be part of what a road safety audit team does, but that is not the primary objective. That would be a standards review or a design technical standards check or the like. Now, a road safety audit is looking wider than that. There are often things that meet standards, but still the audit team presents that as a risk. And they say, we're still concerned about this. And that could be because the standard itself or the guidelines have inherent death and serious injury built into them. I mean, somebody's decided a balance and so the audit team are reporting on that. It could be 2 design standards coming together to form an unsafe situation. So it could be that. It could be that this standard has never been applied in this context before, or this is a unique context for the application of that, and it presents other risks. So there's just a few examples of where things can meet standards, but they can still pose the risk of death and serious injury to our community. And our role as road safety auditors is to flag these, highlight them, give that back to the project team or the designer and say, hey, have a think about that. Now, sometimes as a road safety auditor, you also identify things that don't meet standards or guidelines, and you're concerned by those, and you would report on those as well. But standards don't necessarily equal safety. So meeting the standards, meeting the guidelines does not mean we will have a road and street network free of death and serious injury. Okay, we need to keep an eye on, is this right in that context? Do those standards and guidelines have death and serious injury built into them that we need to challenge and the like. But it's a good starting point usually to know your standards and guidelines and check against those, but think broader than that as a road safety auditor. I just use an example in the road safety audit course we run. And so any of you who have come along to it, you probably recognize this one, but any that come along in the future, you'll probably be a good chance to win a prize because I'm about to talk a little bit about this. This is a tragic incident on a road in Victoria. I'll give a prize for somebody who can tell me what road it is. It's a few little clues in the photo there. Pop it into the chat. Our first one to pop that in the chat. Oh, Joseph, you are on it. So I've got to keep a note here of who's getting prizes. I'm sure Sophia can do that as well. But Joseph, yeah, it is Eastlink, and it's the first fatality on Eastlink. But in it's a big multi-billion-dollar road. Now, the barrier system that went in there at the time met all the standards and guidelines in its configuration. It was a test level 3 barrier system in there that we know would contain a vehicle of around 2 tons at a particular crash angle and the like. That's what they're tested for. But a vehicle of this size, you would never expect that barrier system to contain that vehicle at any sort of reasonable angle or the like. And so that vehicle breached the barrier system, hit the overhead gantry there, and tragically the driver was killed. The extra concern there, so we had the tragedy of the driver who's lost their life, but you can see the gantries started to bend there, and the real concern that it could come down across the carriageway as well, and we'd see multiple fatalities out of that. But everything met standards and guidelines. Okay, so what we would have liked to see is the road safety auditors being able to predict this sort of thing. And that's a real challenge as a road safety auditor. I find it absolutely fascinating. You're trying to predict what's going to happen and how it's all going to play out, how road users might behave or fail, and then how do you manage all of that? So we may have, as road safety auditors, ideally in the design phase of this, before they built anything, talked about more higher level protection around gantries and especially gantries over the road. Now, subsequently, standards and guidelines have changed since this, and now we know that around anything that would be over a road like that, you'd certainly have a higher containment barrier system. But back then, it did meet the standards and guidelines. So that's just one example. I could give thousands and thousands, but we've only got a short time together. But you can see here road safety, the life cycle of a road. And I've taken this diagram out of the Austroads Guide to Road Safety Part 6, but we essentially have network and corridor planning. We have the development of a program of upgrade works. We have sort of project scoping, countermeasure, definition, and then the development of specific projects and designing them up. Then we get into building it, delivering it, and then it's been built, and there might be some post-project checks and the like, and then you're just managing, maintaining, and operating your network. So that's kind of what we'll talk about, the life cycle of a road. And then, of course, from there, you'd eventually come back to the start and cycle back around. We can inject road safety and improve the safety on our roads and streets throughout all of these different bits. We know we've got things like the principles and the vision and network safety plans, and we've got movement in place, which sort of sets us a nice platform for thinking in terms of strategic transport planning. Then we've got what we call proactive techniques, network safety reviews, different quality assurance checks that are in designs, monitoring, and the like. And then what are referred to as predictive techniques, such as our ANRAM, OSRAP, and the like. Actually, anybody who can tell me what this stands for, OSRAP, I'll give a prize. First one to put that in the chat, OSRAP. We've got things like safe system assessments there as well. And then reactive techniques, which is where there has been incidents. Kenn there has done well. Yes. Australia, very well done out of Queensland. The Australian Road Assessment Program. So road assessment programs look at the risk on roads, not where crashes have necessarily happened, but just the characteristics of the road environment. So that's what we call a predictive technique. So Jaden, sending a lawnmower up your way. Okay. The road safety audits sit in there. Okay. What we call proactive techniques. We don't need to have death and serious injury occur in order to do a road safety audit. It may be a location where crashes have happened. It may not. But that is not, if you are analyzing crashes in detail and you're analyzing exactly what's happened and the mechanics of the crash and trying to look at how infrastructure may play a role in that, you're doing what we call a black spot investigation or a crash reduction study type investigation. Now, road safety audits and those, they overlap quite a lot, right? They have a lot of similar characteristics, but a road safety audit doesn't need those crashes there. Oh, I'm going to come back to that because, I've got a sneaky little look there for anybody who's quick. They may have seen some of the answers. But let's go back to the quiz and we'll give out another question here. Okay. Which stage of a road project typically yields the greatest benefits from a road safety audit? Pre-opening, preliminary design, immediate post-opening or existing roads. Well, this is getting tricky. So pre-opening would be after it's built, a road safety auditor does a check. Or preliminary design is they've designed something up. Immediate post-opening would be after it's built, and existing roads are looking at what's there. Wow, this group is good. We've got 36 of you onto that. It is preliminary design. I'm going to come back and talk a little bit about that. I want to do 2 more quiz questions before I jump back to the PowerPoint. So keep your browser ready there. Anybody who got in a little bit late, you could join in. I dare say you're probably not going to win the quiz, but you just go to menti.com and you put in this code, no spaces, and you can join in the quiz. Otherwise, you can just sit back and watch. But let's do another couple of questions here before we jump on. What benefit cost ratio does Austroads give to a road safety audit of a detailed design? So this is saying, for every dollar invested in the road safety audit and associated works changes, what benefit cost would you get for a road safety audit? Every dollar invested, you get a certain amount back. Amazing. 36 to 1. Like that is, you don't see BCRs that big in road infrastructure, and in fact, in many things. If you can invest in anything that gives you a 36 to 1 return, invest in it, is my advice. So that shows you, and I'll come back to explain why that is the case. But that was for the detailed design stage of a road safety audit. When you're given a design, you review it as an audit team, you make recommendations, they make alterations there. Let's go to our next question here. And I'm going to come back and talk a little bit more about this. Our next question here is, what benefit cost ratio does Austroads give to a road safety audit of an existing road? So this is to go out to an intersection of concern or a length of road of concern. As an audit team, look for things, make recommendations, hand those in, and then they make some changes associated with that. What benefit cost ratio? We know we got 36 to 1 for the detailed design. Maybe it's the same as that, or is it less than that? This is a spread. Okay. So we get 6 to 1. Still an astronomically good investment. 6 to 1 again. Get anything, any investment, 6 to 1, invest in it. You're going amazing places there, but not as much as that detailed design road safety audit. So this is some evaluation work that Austroads did. So let's have a look at this and explain why. Well, first thing to do is just reiterate there. road safety audit, the process of doing a road safety audit, handing that back to a project team, be that the designer, the project manager, or the existing road manager, and them reviewing that, making alterations, is a fantastic investment from a pure transport economics perspective. The number of deaths and serious injuries saved, and if you equate that to a dollar value, which is kind of a disturbing thing to do, but it's sometimes done, in terms of the cost of the audit, which is minuscule in the scheme of things, plus also the cost of any infrastructure changes. That can be big, right? That results in huge returns on investment. Now, the reason it's 36 to 1 for a design is because of two main factors. One, people are more willing to make fundamental changes at design stage because they get into CAD, they make their alterations, they change things, right? Easy enough to change things. Okay, sometimes there's challenges. Maybe you've got services you can't move, and sometimes you've got land acquisition or environmental or cultural heritage issues you've got to deal with. Right, yeah, there's challenges. But there is much more a platform for people to be willing to make changes happen. Okay, the second one is there that more substantial changes are likely to happen. So that could be geometric design changes or major sort of intersection form changes, although at detailed design stage that's hard. But things like thinking about frangible light poles or thinking about adding raised pedestrian crossings or things are more likely to be facilitated at this stage. So we can get big, powerful change. In the existing road environment, okay, that's just going to be harder to change. You need to get a project up. You need to get the budget for it. Then you need to actually probably do some civil works or some major changes if you want to get some changes to happen. This one you were going to build anyway, right? So you were going through that process. And then what we find is that for existing conditions, often it's a little more of a challenge to get big fundamental changes, but you can do some things to tweak things. This is still a great investment. So having that audit team cast their eyes over a design, make their comments and the like, huge return on investment. Sending an audit team out to an existing road is also a really good way to do that. Now, what do we see in a road safety audit? What is sort of output you might expect to see? And I've popped just a snip of one here. We won't get into the details of it, but I just wanted you to see sort of how things are usually presented and what the receiver of a road safety audit would get. So there's going to be a description of the finding. So what did the audit team see? What are they concerned about? Looking at the design or looking at the existing road. And so then they write that up. It's nice to have a little snip there so the designer knows exactly what they're talking about. Here it looks like they're talking about some bollards being placed in an area. Then we see there's a risk rating. Okay, and Ostrode's Guide to Road Safety Part 6 has a risk matrix, and people use that. It's got the likelihood of crash and the severity of crash. For those playing at home who are safe system assessors, the exposure part is packed into likelihood in a road safety audit. Then there's the recommendation, and the recommendation is what the audit team recommends. And I stress this is a recommendation. There is auditors hold no legislative power to enforce anything, to make a project team do anything. They simply recommend stuff. Here's some ideas. We think this would make it safer. But the project manager is the project manager and the designer is the designer. It's their project. They decide what happens. This is an advice piece, right? Then there's always this blank bit left to make sure the receiver of the audit report actually does something with it. They say, yeah, we agree with that. We think it's a good finding. We can make those changes. Or they say, we don't agree with you. And here's our justification of why, and we're not going to do anything. Okay. Again, I remind you, this is an advice piece, so that does not need to be approved by the audit team or anything like that. It's just there to assist the project team to get a safer project. Now, the old model of a road safety audit before the most recent update to the guide to road safety part 6 would have you as an audit team identify risks and hazards either in the design or in the existing road environment. Then you do like a risk assessment on that. You know, what is this low risk? Is this high risk? Is this intolerable risk? Then you would recommend treatments. In the new model, we do all of that still, but there are these extra little things injected in to just make it a little more safe system aligned. And that's one, to consider safe system tolerances after you've found the issue, you've assessed the risk. And that's where we think about the biomechanics of injury of the human body. How much force can the human body take? In the Austroads Guide Part 6, there are some tables to help you with that. There's a lot of information in that, but it'll just say, yep, this is above, this crash that we're worried could happen is going to be at speeds above what the human body could handle when the crash happens. Or no, we don't like this layout, but if a crash happens, it's likely to be survivable for anybody involved. We still don't like it and we're going to report on it, but it's within tolerable limits. And then the recommendations, which are still made, we try to give them a little indication how well are they aligned with safe system principles? How good a job are they going to do to lessen the likelihood and severity of crash and ultimately lead us to a road network which is virtually free of death and serious injury? And so we can be thinking that way as road safety auditors. And certainly in any of the contemporary road safety audit courses, you will get that safe system fundamentals knowledge to be able to make that call for any recommendations you make as a road safety audit team. Okay, back to the quiz. And I think we're going to get to the end of the quiz on this one and give out prizes. I've still got some slides to go, which really delve into local governments and what they can do with road safety audits. But here we go. We're going to get back to our quiz. We're going to finish it off. We're going to give out the prize. So you're in there, lots of people. As I say, don't worry if you didn't manage to log in. Here we go. Which is not a characteristic of a road safety audit? Which is not proactive identification of safety risks, formal documentation of findings, evaluation of crash costs for economic analysis. Well done. This group they know their stuff. Yep. So we don't do that economic analysis. I mentioned a bit about economic analysis before, but that was just to show you the value of road safety auditing. No, that's a whole different exercise, which can be done, obviously, but not what road safety auditors do. Road safety auditors are looking for safety issues, not just where crashes have happened, but looking, I'm worried about things here, worried about what could happen, documenting that all up in a formal manner. And there's a formal documentation. There are templates out there as well that you could use. Let's go on to our next question. I'm excited about who's going to win this. I'm sure some of you are thinking, I'm in with a chance here. I'm catching up. Okay, let's go. Which of the following is not a requirement of a road safety audit? Auditors are independent of the design. Audit is led by a senior road safety auditor. Audit team must attach completed Austroads checklist to the road safety audit report. Oh, this one's a bit harder, actually. You've got to know a little bit about road safety auditing. Oh, and quite a lot of you do. Yeah, so in the Austroads guide, we put in what we call prompt lists, actually. So they're not cold checklists anymore, but they are sort of a check. You don't actually attach that to a road safety audit report. So the output is not a checklist or anything like that. The output is just the thing that the audit team feels present reasonable risk of death or serious injury or other injury. We do have to be independent of the design. I'm going to talk about that shortly and what that means for local government. And we want audits to be led by senior road safety auditors. So there's some levels of road safety auditors. Usually it's a entry-level road safety auditor, and then they go out and they get experience. So they've done some training, and they've been accredited, they entered there. Then they graduate up to a senior road safety auditor, and they can then lead teams and the like. So it's a sort of graduated process. And there's also other things like trainees and observers as well. Let's keep going with the quiz here. Oh, look at this. It's getting to the pointy, exciting end. I think there's 2 more questions here, and then we reveal our winner. Okay. Oh, here's a question. A council officer can become an accredited road safety auditor. True, false, or only if they are a registered engineer? Interesting. Okay. And I will be talking a little bit more about this as we go, but I thought I'd pop it out there first to start that excitement. So well done. That is true. A council officer can become an accredited road safety auditor. Absolutely. And a bit of a misconception out there is that you need to be a registered engineer to be a road safety auditor. Now, we have wonderful, wonderful road safety auditors out there that are technicians, drafters, behavioral people, so behavioral psychologists, people who are road safety officers, and others. So yes, road design and the engineering can be part of it, but it is a far broader lens at looking at road safety. And one of the reasons we always audit in teams is that we can get that mix in. So sometimes it is a very technical task, and we see technicians, drafters, engineers, all really good at that aspect of analyzing the details of the design and the like and looking for risk. All right. But what I always love is if you can possibly complement that team with somebody who doesn't spend their life in CAD and in the details of things, and asking wide questions about safety, about how will people use that? No, surely people want to walk from there to there, not all the way down there to cross. Logical questions about safety, and that can inject huge benefit into a project. So we love that very team, and you do not need to be a registered engineer to be a road safety auditor. Some jurisdictions play around with that idea, but certainly at this stage, in most jurisdictions around the world, you do not. That's not a requirement. Okay, is this our last question? This is our last question. We're going to reveal the winner, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of this stuff we've been talking about. Here we go. Victoria, Queensland, New South Wales, South Australia, and Western Australia all have public registers of accredited road safety auditors. It's just a true or false. Gee, you could have been quick on this and got some points at the end. I'm really excited to see who's going to win this. So fair, we're going to have to note down our winners shortly. Okay, how are we going here? And, oh, it is true. Yes, all of those jurisdictions have a public register of road safety auditors. Let's find the winner, and then I'm going to talk to some of this and show you actually where that register is and how, if you're interested, you could get yourself onto one of those registers and become an accredited road safety auditor. Here we go. This is going to be for the last question, and we're going to have some jumping around. And here we go. Oh, buddy, you have won. Now, buddy, put in the chat your name and we'll get a prize out to you. But we're also going to give one to Aaron and to Mark B. So congratulations, Ribbit and Isaac and Simba and Clippy, all in the top there, and Mark and Jeff and Joseph all coming in there. So, oh, Adam, of course, I should have known. Adam is our winner, and then Aaron and Mark B. I'll check with Sophia and make sure we get the right info. Fantastic. Well, that was a bit of fun. I always like a bit of a quiz. I run some different quizzes and things in the road safety audit course, trying to keep people engaged, give out some prizes. But let's get back to our PowerPoint here, and I just want to finish off talking about a few of this, and then give some time for questions. So the things I've got here are some common sort of questions. Can a designer audit their own design? And the answer to that is no. So what we do is we require independence in road safety auditing. We require audit. There's a few reasons for that. One is if it's your design or that's you are so close to it, you can sometimes not see issues. Okay. It's like trying to proofread your own letter. Have you ever done that? You write a letter, you read it, you go, that's perfect. And you hand it over to a colleague and say, can you just proofread this? And they go, oh, spelling mistake there, oh, this. You're like, oh, how did I miss that? That's kind of the same. You're so close to it. Also, consciously or subconsciously, a designer is balancing out and weighing up a huge raft of things. The budgets, the traffic model, the community expectations, requirements of their services and land, and all sorts of things going on. Safety is one of the mix of that. Whereas the audit team has the just that safety focus, and it can be really powerful to be able to do that. So you can't audit your own design. If you're the project manager of a project, it's the same thing. And it's more around that, you're balancing out a huge raft of things. Safety is one of them. And so the audit team just has that freedom and that luxury to just focus on the road safety aspects. So can council officers audit the designs that council has produced? Now, I say maybe there because it's about independence from the design. So if you are from another area of council and the designers have done it, you haven't been involved in it, you haven't been managing it, you haven't provided them lots of advice already, then you're independent and you can be part of that audit team, right? But if you've been involved in the project or the like, you're not independent. Council officer audits existing council roads. So there's a dangerous intersection or a concern about an intersection. Can the council officer be part of an audit team to go out and look at that? Now, the decision on that was made, yes. We know that the council officers have got lots of things going on, but the decision was, yep, from an Austroads perspective, that is okay. The reason that's okay is because there is a degree of independence. It's the existing condition, so looking what can be done. And the council officer often has really good contextual context in that perspective. So there's an opportunity there to understand the road safety audit process and then be able to inject that at a council level. The next one we were talking about was accreditation. Now, Victoria has just moved to a new system with Austroads. It's the start of everything transferring to an Austroads system for road safety audit accreditation. That's ticking along nicely. But Victoria's one has one, New South Wales has one, and Queensland has one as well. I've put those three up. South Australia has a less sort of interactive one. It's a PDF that you can download, and these all list road safety auditors that are registered and accredited in that jurisdiction. Now, to do that, you are required to have completed an approved road safety audit course. And I'll show you, we run one, and there's other ones out there available, but you need to have done that. And you need to be generally working in the area of road safety, be that road design, the engineering of roads, road user behavior type things. So just showing you're generally in this profession. Okay, I want to give this example. Again, another example I use in the road safety audit course, but we'll see how we go here. So this is a local government managed road. This is a local government managed unsealed road. This is a arterial road. This is all a high-speed environment, okay? Now, the project being done was the formalization of this unsealed road, curbing, line marking, so sealing the road. And now, this road and this situation, to this improved road environment, there was a significant increase in death and serious injury at this location. Now, just because of that change, we saw a spike in death and serious injury. They thought they were improving things. Pop it in the chat if you can have a guess at why. Now, there's a few factors that influence this, but Andrew Smith out of Bendigo has come through with the goods. The see-through effect. Now, there are other ones, and like Tom's one that's come in there as well, which is around high approach speeds on the sealed road. So certainly speed will have increased on this one, and we might have an increase in volume as well. So those are all factors influencing there. The one I did want to talk to was the one Andrew mentioned there, which is a driver coming down here currently, before the upgrade work, saw a very different road environment. In fact, the intersection was quite obvious. Then when it was sealed, it became a real see-through effect, an avenue effect. It looked like the road continued and people were overshooting. The tragic thing here is, and I think I've got a picture of the after here. Yes. So that's the old bit of road. This is a new one. Don't worry about the burnout marks, but you can see the see-through effect there. We've got the power poles running down there. That's going to give visual deceit. It's going to make it even look more like a driver who's not concentrating or a bit distracted or it's foggy or whatever it is. They're driving along and they might shoot straight through that intersection. In fact, more did after these upgrade works. The really tragic thing about this is no road safety audit was done because the council felt they were following standards and guidelines. This has been really well designed. This was upgrading. This was, in their mind, making everything better and safer. But we want to inject road safety audits in, even if we think we're making things better, to see if there are any of these wider implications that could increase the chance of death and serious injury. And that's where the audit team would have hopefully seen and said, worried about the see-through effect. Are there things that could be done with this? Could we put in splitter islands? Could we alter give more advanced warning? Could it be rumble strips on the approach, active advanced warning signs? Could we stagger the T? Could we even move really far forward to get a roundabout in there? And spoiler alert, actually, it's not a spoiler alert because I'm not even going to tell you show this in slides. There is eventually a roundabout came there. A cost came at the cost of quite a number of our community's lives and serious injuries, but we finally got there to a roundabout. Andrew Smith has the eagle eye there and has seen that the stop sign with a StatCon line, a give way line. So I have had the privilege of undertaking a few road safety audits with Andrew up there. He's got a keen eye for detail. So well done, Andrew. I'm only giving you one prize though for this session. Okay. We can undertake the road safety audit process at anywhere in the life cycle. These are the defined stages of road safety audit. You can do it at feasibility design, preliminary design, the detailed design, or you can do it at the construction, pre-opening, immediate post-opening, or existing roads. Now, here's a little bit of an explanation of how councils, local governments can really use this process, this methodology, be that themselves as road safety auditors after they've been through the appropriate training and checks and balances, or engaging consultants to do the work. But the first one is council work. So any work that's been done on a council road could be road safety audited. It's a safety check, assurance, like the one we just showed as that example. That's when audits should be undertaken. Is there anything else we can do? Are there any risks that are going to be provided? The next one we've got here, the Federal Black Spot Program. This is a wonderful initiative that the Federal Black Spot Program, which started as only a reactive program, have to have people killed or seriously injured or other injury crashes, have to have a crash history. No, they've moved now. You can apply for federal funding even if there's no crashes, but a road safety audit is one way you could do that. There's a few other risk methods you could use, but a road safety audit at a site, use that, apply to the feds, get some funding to fix it before people are killed or seriously injured. You'll probably know the ones that are risky, and you can get a road safety audit done there. Third-party work, safety assurance. Okay, so you're on your local government road network, you're going to have others doing work, be that developers, utility providers and the like. You can either require them to do road safety audits as part of their work, or you can engage road safety auditors or go out there and do a road safety audit if you're independent from it all, and check, are they building things that are unsafe that are going to cause death and serious injury? This is an example of one we were doing for some community battery projects for a local government that, they're going to new batteries in the road environment. What are the dangers associated with that? And it also works really well for dispute resolution between stakeholders. So it could be that utility provider coming in, or it could be a developer who thinks this is fine and council doesn't, and there could be a road safety audit as part of this, or residents think that something is really dangerous, council doesn't, or vice versa. And a road safety audit can be that nice independent injection. And that's the second one there, dispute resolution community. And another one for a local government we did in New South Wales was some community really concerned about the safety of an unsealed road. And the audit was part of the way that council was dealing with the community, saying, okay, we're going to get an independent expert team to have a look at this. They'll do a road safety audit, and there'll be findings out of that, and we'll look to address what we can there. And so those sort of things can work really well. Innovative projects. Okay, trying to do new things on our roads and streets. You've got to have good risk management processes in place, and road safety audits are wonderful. The one I've just got on screen here was they were projecting all the Australian Open imagery on Flinders Street last year, or at the start of this year, actually. We're engaged to do a road safety audit of that to understand, is that going to increase risk to our community? What are some of the wider risk factors of it? What alterations could be made? So it's a risk management process. And there's all sorts of weird, wild, and wonderful things that happen out there on our road network, and we need to make sure they're not presenting death and serious injury risk to our community. Other risk identification and quantification. So this is looking at different road safety concerns, be it a shared path, be it particular road users, motorcycles. We've got a concern with motorcycles. You can actually have these, what we call thematic road safety audits, which is where you'll take a particular theme and you'll interrogate that. And there's on screen some of our motorcycle audits where we go out with a experienced motorcyclist, an audit team in a car following, and there's lots of discussion and collaboration, and had some wonderful opportunities to do that in an even bigger environment where you then have some workshops with riders and understand some of those risks as well. And also on that thematic type thinking, you can focus on like a safe routes to school type audit, where you're thinking about how do children get to a school, what are the crossing points, what are the areas they might be waiting, and how, what is the safety of all of that, with that real focus on their children and maybe parents and the like getting to and from school, or even the parking setup and the like. So you can utilize the road safety audit process in that. Okay, pop questions into the chat, because I'm getting close to the end of what I wanted to cover, and then I'm going to just go through answering a few questions you might have about road safety auditing in general. But if you are interested in becoming a road safety auditor, and as I mentioned there, it's a really good opportunity for local government officers to add a new skill to their skill set, and also be able to hopefully undertake some road safety audits within their council. Or what I also encourage is that two neighbouring councils talk to each other, and they have some road safety auditors in each, and they can audit each other's designs or each other's roads, and that's real, like full independence. And it also means that there's not that heavy requirement on external consultants and the like. So that's always a good little approach. But if you're interested in becoming a road safety auditor, as I mentioned, we do both a live online course, which and we also do in-house ones. So we sometimes go into a council and they've got enough, or there's surrounding councils that pull together people, and we'll come in, we'll run the course just for them. Or we do public in-person courses as well across Victoria, Tasmania, New South Wales, Queensland, South Australia. Now, I just want to flag here, you'll see this course, the Safe System Solutions one, is approved by these governments, but not Western Australia. Western Australia does their own thing. There's only one course over there. It's their online thing, and so Western Australia is sort of doing their own thing. Okay. But jump onto the Safe System Solutions website if you're interested. We've got quite a stream of audit courses. Feel free to just email through if you've got a particular interest and you want to pull together a group of counsellors or the like. And yeah, my contact details there. My colleague up in Queensland, Harris, he sort of coordinates our Queensland stuff, and myself for the Victoria, New South Wales, and South Australia and Tasmania stuff.